Now on CoastTV News.
A teenage swimmer dead at Assateague Island National Seashore. This comes after a string of deadly incidents in the water. A possible deal between ICE and Wicomico County.
Explore the idea with ICE to assist them.
What this could mean for the future of the county.
Tracking a steamy, stormy end to our weekend and more stifling heat into next week.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Brandon Ferguson. Welcome to CoastTV News at 6. We begin tonight with a 18-year-old dead in the waters of Assateague Island. On your screen now is the area the National Park Service says the swimmer was pulled from the water. Authorities say this happened just 2 days ago on July 24th. Initially, 2 swimmers were reported to be in distress. One was rescued, but the second was unconscious when pulled from the ocean. The National Park Service says CPR was performed on the beach, and the teen was then taken to a hospital where he was later pronounced dead. This happened about 150 yards south of the lifeguard area. Authorities urge beachgoers to stay close to the shore and be cautious of changing water conditions. And this isn't the first time a swimmer has died on Delmarva this month. On July 16th, a body of a 27-year-old from Kenya was recovered near the Cape Henlopen State Park after he went missing days before while swimming near Olive Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. And just 1 day later after that, body of 18-year-old George Chilel was recovered, who went missing the day before while crabbing with his family near the Broadkill River. For a full article on all 3 of these tragic deaths, you can head right now to our website, coasttv.com. And today it was a beautiful morning at the Cape Henlopen State Park. As you can see, lots of families enjoying the beach near the McBride Bathhouse. And we're now going to take a live look outside into Milford and bring in our first alert meteorologist, Chris Mastrobone. And Chris, a cloudy but muggy one outside today.
Yeah, you know, we began the day, especially at the coast, with some sunshine, but the clouds quickly rolled in, all thanks to an east wind, and that's actually helped stabilize the atmosphere across much of Delmarva. We're at 82 in Salisbury after hitting a high of 89. That was one of our warmer locations. You can see right now we're at 75, Rehoboth 77, Bethany we're at 80, Georgetown and 80 in Bridgeville. You can see that persistent east wind, seeing some gusts upwards of 15 miles an hour, but that has allowed for a lot of clouds to develop through the afternoon. We had one little brief thunderstorm just to the east of Crisfield fire up. That has since dissipated. Most of the scattered shower and thunderstorm activity is back off to our west, and that's where I expect it to stay through the evening. Now, the Storm Prediction Center has that marginal risk through the evening. Can't rule out an isolated severe storm, but the threat is very low. Expecting mostly cloudy skies with temperatures falling into the mid-70s, so a muggy, mild night with a brief shower or storm through the overnight. A better chance of storms comes in tomorrow afternoon. Some of those storms could be on the severe side with some flash flooding, and that heat, we're going to keep it on really from Monday through Wednesday, but we do see some signs of some relief, and we'll talk more about that in that full 7-day forecast. Brandon.
Thank you, Chris. The first law enforcement domino on the eastern shore could soon fall. That is if the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office does end up striking a deal with ICE. A 287G agreement would allow local police to work with ICE in 3 ways: serving warrants, on-street enforcement, and jail enforcement. Wicomico County Sheriff Mike Lewis says he has already filed paperwork with ICE.
What I would like to do in the future is explore the idea with ICE to assist them once someone's arrested on local charges and they're transported to the local jail.
The sheriff also says he has spoken with the agency over the phone and email, but he says any deal is still likely weeks and possibly even months away from getting done. And now to the federal immigration officials. They have reported roughly 150,000 people since President Trump took office have been deported. The latest numbers released on Wednesday indicate the agency could deport up to 300,000 people during Trump's first year back in office. That would be the highest number of deportations since the Obama administration. However, it will be far short of Trump's target of 1 million deportations on the year. Back here locally, get ready for one of the Eastern Shore's most iconic traditions, the Chincoteague Pony Swim. Watch live as the Saltwater Cowboys guide the wild ponies across the Assateague Channel to Chincoteague Island. Coverage begins at 7 a.m. this Wednesday on DSN and anywhere on DSN+. Don't miss this tradition, the excitement, and the magic of the pony swim only on DSN. The Little League Softball Mid-Atlantic Regional Tournament is also happening this week. The Delmarva Sports Network crew is also in Bristol covering Delaware's Camden, Wyoming squad. It is brought to you by Preston Automotive, and they have live updates on the Delmarva Sports Network app, website, and social media.
Well, we've really had some good weather for the state fair this week, and it's going to be a mild, muggy evening. Can't rule out an isolated storm here. I think most of the evening is dry as we fall into the upper 70s. We'll track storm chances for our Sunday in that full forecast here in minutes.
A Chicago judge throws away a Trump administration lawsuit. We have that story and a tragic death at Hershey Park next.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
A federal judge has thrown out a Trump administration lawsuit over Chicago's sanctuary city policy. A Northern District of Illinois District Court judge issued a 64-page decision Friday agreeing that the U.S. lacks standing to sue over the sanctuary policies. The ruling cited the 10th Amendment. The judge went on to say that the city, county, or state authorities have the right to not participate in enforcing civil immigration laws. In regional news, the wave pool at Hershey Park was closed yesterday. That just one day after a 9-year-old girl died at the park. The 9-year-old was seen inside the wave pool in distress, and witnesses at the park say they watched the 9-year-old get pulled out of the pool, and seconds later, lifeguards blew their whistles to evacuate everyone else. In a statement from the CEO of Hershey Entertainment, he said, quote, "From the moment our lifeguard team recognized that a child was in distress, they performed an immediate rescue followed by continuous coordinated life-saving efforts by our lifeguards, on-site first responders, and medical personnel." Derry Township Police Department said they're working with the Dauphin County Coroner and Hershey Park to review the death of this young child.
Well, we're going to stay mostly dry, I think, for this evening. Maybe an isolated storm or two, but we're looking at right around 78 through sunset. Muggy conditions, but we will talk about more scattered shower and storm threats to tomorrow, and then more heat indices near 110. We'll talk all about it in that full 7-day forecast after the break. Well, all in all, not a terrible Saturday. We're dealing with mostly cloudy skies in Cambridge. We began the day with sunshine, but an east wind has taken over. You could see we are at 75 in Rehoboth Beach, 77 Bethany, 80 Long Neck. We're at 80 Milton, and 81 in Laurel. As I mentioned, that east wind really took the day over here. You could see winds pushing all the way through much of the peninsula, pretty much stabilizing the atmosphere. Still muggy out there with dew points in the 70s, but not as oppressive as we were yesterday, seeing those 105, 110 heat indices. We had one brief shower there just to the east of Crisfield. That has dissipated. A lot of this scattered shower activity diving southeast is pretty much falling apart. Can't rule out an isolated shower through the evening. This front is going to be lifting through as a warm front overnight, and that will bring another threat of some showers to the overnight. So the Storm Prediction Center, I have a feeling they're going to kind of take this out through the evening. We have an isolated storm threat mainly through the evening, pretty low there. As we push into the overnight, few scattered showers, maybe a brief downpour into the early wee hours of Sunday. Waking up tomorrow with a few scattered showers, but that main activity coming in through the afternoon. We're at 74 overnight, a mostly cloudy, muggy night. Maybe a brief shower to start, but the better chance of showers rolls in after about noon, 1 o'clock. As they overspread the area. I think we squeak out an 87 Lewis, 89 in Georgetown prior to those storms. If anyone sees a 90-degree temperature, it's going to be the Eastern Shore, 91 to Cambridge, 90 Salisbury, 89 in Snow Hill. So there's the storm threat tomorrow. Marginal risk, 1 out of 5. Damaging wind threat as well as the threat of flash flooding. In fact, the Weather Prediction Center has that marginal risk over the area. A lot of moisture for these storms to tap into. So where they do form, we could see some localized flash flooding. By 4 o'clock, you could see those storms developing over Lewis and pushing down the coast through about 5:30. I think after we get about 7, 8 o'clock, the storm threat wanes and we see sunny skies by Monday, back into the lower 90s, and the heat only intensifies as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. Heat index around 100 to 110 between Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday looks like the worst of the three, with those temperatures rising back to 95, looking pretty good for the 100th annual Assateague Pony Swim, 90 degrees, but then look at that. By August 1st and 5th, we are below normal. Once we get past Wednesday, front comes through, better chance of showers and storms Thursday with the front.
Still to come here on Coast TV News at 6, over 100 NFL players being sued after selling their own Super Bowl tickets. Stay with us. That story is next. The National Football League is fining more than 100 players over 24 team employees. An NFL spokesman said the group is accused of selling their Super Bowl 59 tickets above face value. The league's policy states all NFL players are allowed to buy 2 tickets to the Super Bowl at face value. However, it prohibits players or team employees from selling their tickets at a higher price. Players will be fined 1.5 times the amount of the face value ticket they sold, and team employees will be fined double the amount. Coming up next, extreme heat can be very dangerous, but did you know that it can make you age faster? We have that story next. Living in hot places doesn't just make your skin age faster, it does to your entire body. That's according to a new study that found extreme heat makes you age more quickly. Researchers looked at more than 3,600 people over the age of 55. They found people who experienced at least 140 days of the heat index at over 90 degrees aged up to 14 months faster than those who only experienced 10 such days per year. And we're now going to take a live look outside into a cloudy and muggy Ocean City. And after the break here on Coast TV News at 6, we have a final look at your forecast.
Well, your forecast just a call away. Brockstead Mandalas Federico sponsoring the First Alert Weather Phone, and your 10-day forecast shows the threat of scattered showers and storms tomorrow that could bring some damaging winds and flash flooding. We crank up the heat through Wednesday, feeling like 110 on Wednesday. Cold front Thursday ushers in some nice air, Brandon, as we usher in next weekend and the start of August.
Thank you for that, Chris. Looking forward to that weather. And thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Be sure to join us tonight at 11. Until then, have a great night.